Our next interviewer and interviewee are Sara Chokshi. Dr. Chokshi from HITLAB is the director of research at HITLAB, and again, has her doctorate from Columbia University in heuristic and qualitative research. And we have Mohsen Omrani, who's the co-founder and CEO of OPTT. And on that note, we're going to hear about how a technology platform is helping with mental health, and certainly in some of those areas where we have physician and clinical service shortages. So Sara, handing the virtual mic over to you.
Great, thank you, Stan. Hi, everyone. Thanks for being with us today. I'm excited to be here. I'm even more excited to be speaking with Mohsen Omrani. Hi, Mohsen. Great to have you.
How are you doing? Very nice talking to you.
Yeah, and so Stan mentioned, I hope we can spend some time talking about OPT, but before we go there, similar to our last panelist, I'm really interested to know, what are your takeaways from JP Morgan, the JP Morgan conference this year?
Yeah, definitely. First, thanks for having me. I attended mostly the digital health sessions, and what really stood out to me was the emphasis of the digital health companies on digital first, meaning that this cannot be a one size fit all. You should, it's good to have the digital first, but then try to redirect the patients to the appropriate level of care, which leads to collaborative care, meaning that not every patient needs the most expertise specialist, and not every patient can survive with just the least, right? So there should be a collaborative care system that actually each patient receives the right amount of care that they need for. And this next point was how these digital tools should empower clinicians, right? And like the AI algorithms, the idea is not to replace clinicians, but the idea is to empower them like any other tool in medicine. The idea with an ultrasound machine is not to replace the clinician. It's the idea to empower their knowledge on how the patient is doing. So that was my take on the JP Morgan week.
Yeah, thanks. It's so important. I think particularly, as you said, not replacing clinicians, but pointing out how these tools can help us also determine and distribute patients appropriately for who needs that high touch care versus who just needs a prescription refill, and that time and energy isn't of the human interaction isn't
exactly
isn't adding much anyway. So thanks. Yeah, super important points. So you are the CEO of OPT. Can you tell us a little bit about OPT and particularly how you see OPT fitting into this new world of digital health?
So OPT is a B2B SaaS virtual mental health platform targeted at healthcare organizations to increase their care capacity and personnel efficiency by up to 4 times. So we equip clinicians with clinically validated digital content and analytical and AI capabilities to facilitate their interactions with their patients. So we do not deliver care directly to patients. Our targets are clinicians with the exact same idea to empower them to facilitate what they do and take, the whole goal is to streamline and standardize the process of the care. So the bulk of the care could be delivered by lower cost, lower trained, employees. And so and we find a solution that we can actually assign the appropriate level of care to each patient. So that's so the base of our solution is a range of disease-specific digital care plans. And one thing that I noticed a few speakers mentioned that as well, it's the clinical validation. So we have a commitment that any of our digital care plans that go online is connected to a clinical trial, is connected to a peer-reviewed article. So when we say our anxiety module reduces symptoms by 40%, there's an actual paper that you can go pick it up, look at the control group, look at the intervention group, and compare the results for yourself. So I think that is, paramount for and a starting point for any health, app or any health digital program to have the digital and the clinical validation. But the next is that what we are trying to do is to help using AI, help facilitate each step of the process. And what we are working on right now is a step care model that is based on that our digital care plans, and each patient gets bumped up to the next level of care, whether it's a social worker or a psychologist or a psychiatrist for medication prescription, using this evidence-based algorithm that follows patients carefully through their journey of health.
Super, super. Good to know. And, we here at HITLAB, particularly in the research group, are big proponents of evidence, that we have a lot of really amazing tools coming out and in use, but evidence is still new. And so, building evidence for those tools so we can, see what's working, see what's not working, see where we should, spend more time and energy is super important. In addition to that, clinical validation, there's this other area, and I think our last speaker hinted on it a little bit as well, and that is, what do these tools look like in practice? And wanting to hear more about what does integration of these tools into healthcare look like, because they are new, and it is a whole new, mode of doing things with tons of potential. So I'd love for you to just talk a little bit about, I know Opt, and correct anything I'm saying that isn't spot on, but it's a Canadian company, and you are, coming to the US now. And I'd just love to, if you could share, particularly with our other founders in the audience, what is that experience like? What are you learning from the process? Where are the biggest challenges? Where should people have their eyes open and spend, time really to understand what does integration of digital tools look like in practice?
No, that is a very good question. Well, there are specific challenges, I mean, the healthcare system in US and Canada are definitely very different, but the endpoint users, like humans, are the same, right? So while a lot of our customers have been hesitant, say, oh, you have done this in Canada and that is completely different, so we had to really educate them and tell, no, just look at what we are trying to do. It's got nothing to do with reimbursement and that this or that. This is a technology that helps you increase your capacity and the efficacy of our solution. But at the same time, something that we have been learning, is that having a new product and having a new technology and integrating that into the workflow of clinicians is a big challenge. It's we have been trying to make our solution as seamless and intuitive as we can, but the fact of the matter is that our solution is not as simple as Zoom, right? You get one link in Zoom, you click it, you're connected. For us,
For some people, I can't say that so often really works for me, but I'll give it to you.
I know. And if anytime you get a little more sophisticated, you lose some of your audience there. And it has been a learning curve for us to realize, okay, what is the best way, how do we onboard the clinicians with what we have and our technology.
Great, thanks. Yeah, so Mohsen, we only have a couple more minutes. Just one last question. Overall, as a startup founder in digital mental health, where do you see the biggest sort of the biggest opportunity?
For me, my background is in academia, and I came to be an entrepreneur because I felt like, what I wanted from this was not done by anybody else. What I hope to be done by is that just more focus on the expertise and more focus on really developing the tools that make a difference. For us, my challenge was that a lot of mental health solutions, the mental health is practiced like 60 years ago. It's the most objective measure is a 7-question questionnaire or a 9-question questionnaire, and we know that they're crude and they cannot really separate themselves from each other. So it is important to invest in developing new tools to really, be objectively evaluate patients' mental status in a fine grain. So that is could be the base of evidence-based decision making. If you cannot measure something, you cannot change it, right? So our hope is to really, spend the next 2 years to expand our AI capabilities, to expand, evidence-based decision making in the mental health space. And this is the right time, with all the stuff happening around.
Great tools you guys are building. Thank you so much, Mohsen, for your time and for joining us today.
Thanks, Sarah. Appreciate it.
All right. And thank you, Dr. Chokshi, for a great interview. Just a terrific session altogether, and really, really intriguing to see how the interventions, the digital interventions in mental health have progressed so quickly. And again, Mohsen's technology is a great example of that.